Hello, this is Dr. Peter Trzop, and I got a request from a student to do a video on the Goldilocks effect in writing. And while I do have some, the good point about it is I do need to update them from time to time. Theories do evolve, and maybe not a lot, but sometimes the way to explain it does. So that's a good idea as well. Plus, it's easier to search or look through videos when they're a little more current. Even though there's a search feature, but it makes the point like, hey, it's right there, and sometimes it's good to update these things. Plus, you get to see my current, which way is it there? The current pictures of all the people I believe are important in my life, or at least in people's lives. They make a difference. And so those get bigger and bigger each year, so you can kind of see that progression. No, I'm jokingly saying that. But the big thing about the Goldilocks effect is it's kind of like, the three bears, Goldilocks and the three bears, and everything too hot, too cold, just right. But I kind of looked at it, too, from the planetary perspective. I was reading an article, and it talked about this perfect zone. Yeah, it's not like it has to be this, it has to be that, but it's kind of like, hey, look, if you get too close to this, you burn up. If you get too far, it's too cold. But if you kind of get somewhere in this zone, then you can, have life and planets like Earth and et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of like what it is about writing. It's not an exact science. It's just more of a range. I've pushed this for years. Sometimes I thought about 4 to 5 sentences, but really I think more 4 to 6 sentences is about right. I've had some schools and writers say, oh, no, it's 5 sentences. Okay. And some say it's 8, and that's okay too. But I think if you kind of shoot for 4 to 6 sentences, you want a nice balanced paragraph. That's the goal. At the end of the day, that's the goal. If you're a short writer, maybe 6, 7, 8 sentences are okay. If you're a long writer, maybe 3 or 4. But most people, it's about 4 to 6 sentences. And the goal here is to take an idea. That's what a paragraph's about. It's about an idea, and you explore it, and then you stop. Now, you can start another paragraph if you want to expand that idea or to develop another aspect of the idea. But the goal is to develop these paragraphs that can be put together, either an assessment or discussion post, or more importantly, like a paper. So your goal is to start building these blocks, or if you will, segments that can be put together. Now, the way you can maximize the Goldilocks effect is obviously good grammar and good spelling. Good grammar never goes out of style, and good APA. So those are things that help enhance the quality of that paragraph. Having said that, you can also enhance it with headers, like, hey, this is the section these are the sections of the paper, and this section's here about this topic, and here's a paragraph. And then another paragraph could roll up into that header, and then it's organized that way. So Goldilocks effect also helps to organize your paper, organize your ideas, and couple it with headers. That's a really good feature of that. That's why we would want to do that. Another indicator is that when I see a paragraph of 4 to 6 sentences, that's probably a good hint or indicator I need to cite something. I want to put something in there that makes it academic. So you can cite and develop, and in the rest of the paragraph, you can develop, cite, develop, or you can develop, cite. And at the end, you got to be careful. You don't want to cite at the end of a paragraph, but you can kind of get towards the end and then cite a little bit and develop it. So we always want to cite and show analysis. So that's how we can make those paragraphs. But we don't want to cite at the end of a paragraph because it doesn't show for that analysis. And citing at the beginning or end of a paragraph does not cover the whole paragraph. It just covers the sentence attached. So when you combine all these features, the goal is to have a pattern. Okay, you have this pattern, and this pattern helps you to say, okay, I know what a paragraph looks like. I know how it works with a header. I know how it works with citations. And you start getting this pattern, or like a process, and it's easier to write. At first, you're like, well, I'm kind of watching this and watching that, and I got to do this and that, and grammar, spelling, APA, and all these moving parts. But instead of just saying, write a better paragraph, or add detail or whatever, I'm trying to show you this is a process or a pattern that you can use consistently, and over time, it becomes easier to write. Okay, I know I have these headers. I know I have to do paragraphs of 4 to 6 sentences. I know I have to cite. I know I got to check. It's like a checklist. Some people are checklist oriented. That's one way of looking at it, okay? So I know I got to write 4 to 6 sentences. I know I got to check it for grammar, spelling. I know I have to cite in there somewhere. I know I got to cite in APA. So I know this paragraph rolls up to this header. So when you look at the checklist, it helps you to develop this concept. So the Goldilocks effect, I've had students say, well, I've looked it up, I don't see it anywhere. And I jokingly say, well, you got a professor that's innovative and creative. But I'm just trying to give you something that you can remember, and it's very distinct, and that when you say Goldilocks effect, you should automatically say, I know how to write a paragraph. And that's really the push here for that, the concept of the Goldilocks effect. I do appreciate the idea, and I was able to basically enhance and improve the theory as we are the process, if you will, of explaining it. So I do appreciate that quite a bit. Thank you, and best of luck.